with Ellen O'Neill Properties at eXp Realty, and I wanted to take a moment to do a little market update for everybody regarding what's happening in real estate here in Charleston, South Carolina. I know that a lot of people are sort of assuming that real estate has come to a standstill and that without the ability to show homes and things like that. But I want to reiterate that real estate in Charleston has been considered an essential service. And so we real estate professionals have gone about business in a slightly different manner, but we have been able to conduct business throughout this entire trying period. And what I want to share with you are some statistics that I think are going to be very impressive in terms of what's happening in our market during this period of time compared to what happened the same period last year. Like, I have statistics I want to share from January through April, and then what's happening now in the early part of May. So let's get caught up to date with some numbers, because I think that the numbers tell an amazing story. You might recall from previous updates that we began 2020 gangbusters. Both January and February and March even were record-breaking months of sales. When we look at the number of units going under contract in those months, that first quarter, it was surpassing what we had seen in years previous. So we were off to an amazing start, which is what we predicted. We thought that 2020 would be a record-breaking year. And that's coming off of very solid 2017, 2018, and 2019 sales in our region. So we entered the year every bit as strong as we expected to. When we look at the January through April statistics, the number of transactions compared to the same period last year, up 3.8%. That's including April, and we'll get to April in a minute. Up 3.8% compared to 2019, which was our best year of all when comparing 17, 18, and 19. So we topped what we did last year. April itself was a tough month for obvious reasons. The number of transactions was down 11.6% compared to April of last year. Not a surprise. But I'll say it was actually a little better than I expected. I'm not going to lie. So to be down 11.6% in number of transactions, not too shabby. Then when looking at April compared to March of this year, it was a 15.1% decrease in the number of properties going under contract. So you can see April has been an outlier compared to January, February, and March this year. But because January, February, and March were all so significantly stronger than usual, it's carried us through so that this period is beating the period of last year. So I'm just blown away by that, honestly. Now, if we look at the past 12 months of home sales, we've had over 18,000 transactions. We had like upper 17,000s in the whole year of 2019. So if we do a rolling 12-year study, we're over 18,000 transactions. Again, even with April being a sluggish month for us. The median sales price is up 6.6% compared to this time last year. So what does this mean to you? And what does this, what should this be in terms of a takeaway? People have speculated that because of the COVID pandemic, that we're going to be seeing house prices plummet and that we're going to see a repeat of 2008. That is not happening. It's not going to happen. And all the financial experts out there have said time and time again, this is not 2008 all over. So our home prices have risen, and they will continue to rise, but we feel like it will be at a slower rate of appreciation, which is exactly what we predicted coming into 2020 anyway, before COVID ever entered the scene. So that's very important you understand that we are not expecting house prices to drop, okay? It also should be ringing true to you that the buyer demand in Charleston is there. We have record-breaking sales numbers, even with the virus and the pandemic that we're dealing with. So the reality is we need more inventory to keep up with the buyer demand. Okay, so um, there's a lot of people who are, working on getting their house ready to list. I do feel that the market is going to open up with more inventory soon. But for those that have been thinking about moving, this is a phenomenal time to list your house because A, the buyers are there. B, interest rates are low. We are back at historic low interest rates. That's really fueling the buyer activity that we're seeing. People are seeing the opportunity to get a 30-year loan in the low threes, a 15-year loan in the upper twos. Those that recall a few years ago when that came and went, there was a lot of people who feel like they missed the boat. And I think that people right now are feeling like, hey, I don't want that to happen again. So I'm going to go while the getting's good. Another thing I want to share with you is like how May started out. So I like to look at week by week, comparing real estate sales to the same week in the calendar year before. Okay. So if we look at the period of time between May 3rd and May 9th this year, we had 490 home sales. Now, let me put that in perspective. There's only been 2 years where we've had more than 450 homes go under contract this week. In May, it's a busy week, right? So 2 times. In 2017, 452 houses went under contract. This same week in 2018, 458. This year, 490. So I'm looking at the past 3 years of data. This number is a 20% increase over the average number of homes that sold this same year in the past 3 years. And we've had 3 really great years here in Charleston. So I'm not, comparing it to like times gone by when we were in, the trenches and the housing bubble and everything went to pot. But we're talking 3 excellent years. We're up 20% in transactions. That's amazing for early May. It's actually 7% higher than the best year we had, the best week we had in the years past. So we beat the last record by 7%. So let's break this down and say, what exactly does this mean for you? Number one, as a homeowner, you should not be panicking that your home values are dwindling because of, what's happening in the economy and because of what's happening with unemployment and so on and so forth. House prices are not declining. They are not forecasted to decline. I have plenty of evidence of that I've shared in previous messages and will continue to share with people to kind of dispel that myth. So for homeowners, this is good news. For people who are not in their forever home, I think many people are starting to realize that because they've been spending so much time at home. I think several people are starting to realize that they're not loving where they live. And with the rates being so low, this is the right time to make a move. If you're looking to downsize because, the kids are grown and you don't need to be keeping up such a big house, why not move now? The buyers are there and the rates are low. If you feel like, the walls are closing in on you, then why wouldn't you want to upgrade your housing now when you can get upper twos or lower threes when taking a loan on your new property? So basically, I think all over, it's just good news for homeowners. Let's talk a little bit about renters. Renters should give serious consideration to breaking into home ownership now. Number one, it's pretty staggering how sharply rents are going up year over year. Rents don't stay the same and they definitely don't decrease over time, okay? But for somebody who's in a rental, if they break into home ownership, they are taking control of their housing costs year over year. If you get a fixed rate mortgage that mortgage is going to stay the same for the next 15 or 30 years. What may change is if your insurance costs go up a little bit, if your taxes rise a little bit, your payment might shift slightly from year to year, but it's going to be a nominal increase. Nothing like the increases that our renters are seeing year over year, especially here in Charleston. If you're looking at this from another region, I can't speak to what's happening in your rental market, but I feel terrible, especially for young professionals that are looking to rent a home in or near Charleston because, or an apartment. They are just so expensive. So if you know somebody that's in that predicament, let's have a sensible talk about what's happening in the market and how they might break into home ownership and take advantage of some first-time home buyer loan programs that are available through several lenders that I work with. So I hope that this has been a very informative market update for you. I know that some people are in a state of shock and disbelief to hear how healthy our real estate sales have been here in Charleston. But let's face it, this isn't, the secret is out. Everybody knows that Charleston is a very sought after location. So people are flocking to Charleston, and we are like a hidden gem that is no longer under wraps. So with that comes the good and the bad, but prices are definitely accumulating year over year. That's great news for home buyers. If you're looking to break into Charleston, coming here sooner rather than later is definitely in your best interest. If there is anything that I shared with you that you would like to talk about in further detail, please do not hesitate to pick up the phone and give me a call. If you have a question about what's happening in your specific neighborhood with sales and home prices, I'm happy to chat with you about that. I have all of this data at my fingertips. And if you've had any thoughts of buying or selling and you want to talk about what that would involve, I'm happy to coach you through that and help you decide if indeed this is the right time. So thank you for your time. And once again, I'm Ellen O'Neill with eXp Realty here in Charleston. I own Ellen O'Neill Properties at eXp. Love what I do, love helping people make their housing dreams come true, and just give good information about what's really going on. Okay, take care, everybody.